Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special July 2013 webinar, Integrating Cause and Commerce, Trends and Takeaways from eBay Inc. We'd like to first thank eBay for sponsoring this webinar, enabling each of you to be here today at no charge. So thank you to eBay. And I'd like to thank each of you who are joining us today and participating in today's webinar. My name is Megan Strand, and I am the Communications Director for the Cause Marketing Forum. Back in May at the Cause Marketing Forum, we released a study that was called America's Charity Checkout Champions. You can find that study on our website. In that study, we examined the largest point of sale programs in 2012, where consumers were encouraged to make donations to charities, whether they were checking out in a store, at a register, or perhaps online. Imagine our surprise to learn that eBay led the pack out of all the programs we looked at, with $54 million being donated to over 22,000 nonprofits via both buyer and seller contributions via the eBay platform, and that's just in the United States. Today, I am very excited to be joined by Sean Milliken, who is Director of Nonprofit Strategy for eBay, who will be sharing their formula for combining cause and commerce. For those of you who are just joining us, I wanted to go over a quick couple of housekeeping items. If you'd like to ask a question at any point during this webinar, please do so by just typing it into your questions box on the GoToWebinar control panel. We will probably save your questions for the end, but we do welcome your questions, so go ahead and type those in at any point. You will each also be getting a recorded version of this webinar. There's nothing you need to do to receive that except just watch your email inbox. You'll probably be getting that tomorrow. I think that's it for the housekeeping items. At this point, I would like to turn the presentation over to Sean.
Thanks so much, Megan. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to attend today's webinar. And thank you, David and Megan, for giving us the platform to share a bit about how my colleagues and I at eBay Inc. are working every day to inspire more giving to charitable organizations by integrating cause and commerce. I'll spend the better part of the next hour taking you through our approach and some of the things we've learned along the way. So, as Megan said, feel free to send questions in, and I think Megan's going to monitor, and we'll reserve a bit of time at the end to answer any questions you might have. Before we go too much further, I thought it might help to give you a sense of who eBay Inc. is. eBay is no longer just the best place to find a replacement salad dish for your grandmother's china that Uncle Joe broke at Thanksgiving. Yeah, it's still the world's largest online marketplace with over 120 million active users conducting over $18 billion worth of transactions in the last quarter. In fact, there were over 300 million listings for sale at any given second. To give you a sense of what that means in real terms, pair of shoes sells every 5 seconds, an iPad every 1 second, a cell phone every 4 seconds, a major appliance every 31 seconds, and a passenger vehicle every 2 minutes. But it's become so much more. Today, eBay Inc. is enabling commerce to help retailers succeed and to help consumers shop anytime, anywhere. We're doing that through mobile, social, and local initiatives. And we're doing so through eBay marketplaces, but also PayPal, the leading online global payment company, which boasts over 132 million registered users and facilitated 145 billion in payments last year in over 190 markets and 24 currencies. We're also eBay Enterprise, the leading provider of end-to-end e-commerce and digital marketing services that serves over 100 of the top retailers in the United States, including brands such as Toys R Us, the NFL, Ralph Lauren, Dick's Sporting Goods, and Kate Spade. And we're weaving together the unique capabilities of the three with other eBay properties like Ware, Zong, and Milo to provide best-in-class commerce solutions for retailers large and small. Together, our over 31 companies that make up eBay Inc. enabled over $175 billion in commerce volume last year and is executing against a plan that will almost double that amount by 2015. But really what ties all of this together for our more than 30,000 employees is our shared purpose, commitments, and behaviors. Our company's purpose is grounded in our founder, Pierre Omidyar's belief that business can be a force for social good. And today, that same principle runs through everything we do. Our president and CEO, John Donahoe, believes that we're more than just a company, and by placing our purpose at our core, we can create a great and enduring company. My colleagues and I on the social innovation team at eBay Inc. are working with business partners across the enterprise to help bring Pierre and John's vision to life. We believe that creating positive social and environmental change is just as important as delivering strong business performance. In fact, it's critical to securing the long-term financial strength of our business. And we're committed to using the power of our business, the unique assets of eBay, not just our philanthropic gifts or our corporate responsibility efforts, but our people, our expertise, our technology, and the network effects of our users to make the world a better, more sustainable, and enabling place for all people. So over the past year or so, we've been working on developing a strategy that focuses on what we believe are three distinct opportunities for impact. Creating economic opportunity. There's millions of entrepreneurs and small businesses that use eBay and PayPal every day to start and grow their businesses. And we're expanding on that vision and opportunity to underserved communities all around the world to drive impact. An example of this is the eBay Foundation strategic grant-making program, the Opportunity Project, which is focused on creating economic opportunity by using technology or market-based solutions to increase income for individuals or entrepreneurs. Some of it we've partnered with groups like the Grameen Foundation, Ashoka, and Santa Clara University to pursue these initiatives and programs. The second pillar of our approach is enabling greener commerce. We are putting a great deal of effort into greening our business infrastructure while simultaneously inspiring our customers to shop responsibly. An example of this is in mid-2012, we announced a 6-megawatt Bloom fuel cell installation at our new data center in Utah. Through our partnership with Bloom, we're redesigning our data centers to run off clean power and advance a future of commerce that's greener, cleaner, and more efficient. With this announcement, we became the first company in history to announce plans to run a data center on renewable energy as its primary power source. But as I mentioned, we're also infusing more responsible shopping into our marketplace's businesses. We're helping to minimize the life cycle impacts of products by extending their useful life. While this is certainly true for all the goods being traded on eBay, at least the used ones, we've developed programs that have accelerated the pace of redistribution, shifting the behavior of our consumers towards more sustainable shopping. Examples of this are a partnership with Patagonia, the Common Threads initiatives, where people can use their used Patagonia wares, and the Pro Shops by PGA Trade-In Network. They've partnered with us in the eBay Marketplace's business for the resale of golf clubs that are end of use by their current owner. And finally, power and giving, which we'll spend a great deal of the rest of our talk today focusing on. But I didn't want to go on without acknowledging the impact we see and the asset we see in our employees. As I mentioned, there's over 30,000 of them. And we're facilitating platforms and opportunities for them to contribute their time and talent and direct their passions to help us do more good. So what about this power and giving thing? Simply put, our goal is to increase the charitable pie, if you will, by inspiring and enabling connections, connecting people with easy ways to support the causes they care about. Our platforms and technologies are used by hundreds of millions of users around the world. We think we have just an incredible opportunity to increase the volume and scale of philanthropic behavior by giving people easy ways to connect with and give to their favorite causes as they go about their daily life. We aim to embed charitable giving opportunities into all of our commerce experiences across our portfolio so that we can harness the incredible opportunity for shared value held at the intersection of cause and commerce. Secondly, we want to connect nonprofits with tools and our networks of customers to help them raise more funds. eBay is driving, in a lot of ways, the future of commerce through our cutting-edge technologies that are revolutionizing the way people shop and pay. In addition to giving nonprofits access to our networks of potential donors, We're committed to leveraging our business capabilities and extending them to charitable organizations so that they might grow and thrive. And finally, we're connecting our partners with solutions that enable them to extend their own positive impact in the world. We've seen the value of charitable programs can have for our own customers. And by extending our capabilities and platforms to others, we can help them deepen relationships with their own customers and create a multiplying effect on the good that we might do on our own. Now, for the first time ever, we've put forward some goals around this work. This is really not just feel good for us. We take it very seriously, and we want to be transparent in what we are saying we're going to do so that both you and internally we can hold ourselves accountable. In 2012, over 32 million customers took action on behalf of a charitable organization through our programs and platforms. $3.7 billion was generated for charitable organizations, and more than 332,000 charities benefited. And by 2015, we aim to double each of those metrics by embedding giving features into our core product experiences, making those offers attractive to our customers through incentives, personalization, and relevance, and expanding our programs internationally. So let's take a bit of a deeper dive into those three areas that we just touched on. First, empowering donors to give anywhere, anytime, to any cause. We envision a world in which people are able to give to their favorite cause whenever and wherever they are compelled to do so. Towards this end, we're working to embed charitable giving into our commerce experiences to ensure that people are able to connect with and contribute to their favorite cause anywhere and anytime they're compelled to do so. Much of this work in this area is based on our experience, expertise, and assets we've gained through our eBay GivingWorks program, our U.S. marketplace giving program that launched in 2003 and has since been expanded to the UK and Canada and soon to be Germany. It helps nonprofits raise funds and awareness to further their vital work, provide sellers with a safe, simple, and effective way to support their favorite cause through their sales. We often refer to it as cause marketing in a box. We've kind of cut through all the legal parameters. We've given charitable organizations the assurances and the tools they need to make sure that their brands are associated with sellers and items they feel comfortable with. And it engages buyers by providing a simple way to give to any nonprofit they care about with every purchase. Each time a seller lists an item with eBay, they're presented with an opportunity to contribute a percentage of their sale to their nonprofit of choice. Those items go live into the marketplace with unique identifiers that help them stand out from other listings on the site. And each of those listings contain what we refer to as the giving bar, containing things like the organization's logo and mission statement and the percentage of sale that will go to that nonprofit upon completion. And finally, everyone who's buying something on eBay, whether that item supports a nonprofit or not, is given the opportunity to add a donation at checkout. Last year alone, the program inspired over 186,000 sellers to create more than 14 million charitable listings on the eBay marketplaces. Millions more gave a single dollar at checkout. This activity resulted in almost $74 million raised for 30,000 nonprofit organizations that participated last year, bringing the total raised to over $350 million to date. What's interesting about this is we're seeing a pretty even split between those sellers that are giving the minimum 10% and those that are giving all of their proceeds to their chosen cause. It's an indicator, I think, of the fact that about half our user base is using the program for cause marketing purposes, and the other that are using it for purely philanthropic intent. Yeah, we're certainly proud and we're humbled by the response of our users that choose to give in this way. The volume is pretty astounding. 850,000 listings to benefit a charitable organization on any given day, and $140 is raised every minute for those organizations participating. But we're also learning some things through the volume of activity that is going through our platform, and one of those is the power of personalization. We are finding that it is an incredible driver for activity and for philanthropic behavior. It just makes sense, right? People want to give to causes they care about, not who we as eBay or company X, Y, or Z says you should support, but who you feel passionate about. And this can clearly be seen in our Give at Checkout program. We feature different organizations daily, and we try to select those organizations that we believe will resonate because of some factor going on in the outside world. And we've gotten pretty good at that, but any success we have pales in comparison to when the user tells us who they care about. We've created an ability for eBay users within their account to set their favorite nonprofit. And when they do that, we override our featured organization with their chosen cause. And the difference between those that are seeing the organization that we feature and those that are seeing the organizations that they have chosen is pretty unbelievable. Those people that pick their own nonprofit give 20 times more than those that receive a random organization selected by us. And we've also learned that this activity is good for our business. It probably doesn't come as a complete surprise, as I'm sure being members of Cause Marketing Forum, you're pretty well versed in the statistics around cause marketing. I think the 2013 Cone Communications Echo Global CSR study came out recently showing that 93% of people want to see more of products and services they use supporting CSR initiatives. More than 8 in 10 consider CSR when deciding where to work, what to buy, and where to shop, and which products and services to recommend to others. But because of all of this activity through our own platform, and because our business demands it, we've run our own studies about how customers view this program. And we found that those buyers and sellers that participate are more loyal and active customers. They spend, buyers spend 26% more, sellers sell 29% more, and as you can see, they're much less likely to stop using our services. And all of this correlates to a net promoter score of plus 15 points, which is pretty significant by any measure in terms of users' happiness with our overall service.
Sean, could you explain what the Net Promoter Score is? I know that some members of our community are familiar with that metric, but I know that it's not widely understood.
Thanks, Megan. Yeah, so Net Promoter Score is used mostly by the service sector, those that interface with customers on a daily basis, as a gauge to understand how happy that user is with the service. I can't tell you that I'm an expert in all the different factors that go into Net Promoter Score, but it's certainly a score that we as a company rely on to understand if we are doing a good job by our users. Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So it's both the anecdotal data provided to us by groups like Cone, as well as our own data that has helped us build a solid business case for taking these capabilities gained through eBay GivingWorks. And as I said, embed those features into all of our commerce experiences, whether those are mobile, local, or social, because we believe they add value for merchants and resonate with our customers, and at the end of the day, produce that impact that is part of our core purpose. And so we've done things like we've created a PayPal donation hub where any PayPal user can select their favorite nonprofit to give to, and 100% of that gift will go to the nonprofit they support. Now, the second kind of pillar of our work, as I mentioned, is giving nonprofits easy, creative ways to raise unrestricted funds, and that kind of falls into two buckets for us. One is we want to give our users give nonprofits access to our user base. As I mentioned, hundreds of millions of people around the world that we think can be a powerful force for good. But we also are developing technologies that we think can be utilized by the nonprofit community. PayPal is recognized as the faster, simpler, and more secure way to be paid. And nonprofits more and more are finding that it can be an incredibly effective tool for fundraising. PayPal already powers one of the world's largest online donation platforms. In 2012 alone, PayPal processed over $3.6 billion for charities globally, up 22% from the year before. That includes over 43 million individual payments from 3.1 million customers for over 300,000 charities globally. And that doesn't even include the billions more processed for a host of nonprofits that aren't charities, like hospitals and political organizations and universities. And we're doing so through our basic solution, the PayPal Donate button. But more and more, we're integrating feature sets for nonprofits into our broad suite of tools. And we are serving as the payment platform under a number of top solution providers like Blackbaud, Network for Good, and Stay Classy. But things are changing, right? The world is going mobile, and we recognize that. Technology is changing the way people shop and pay, and really how we live our lives. As you can see from device sales going back to 2000, the projected forward to 2016, consumers are increasingly turning to mobile devices. More smartphones were sold in 2011 than PCs, and the same will be true for tablets by 2014. Consumers are turning to their cell phones and feature phones and smartphones and tablets. And at the end of last year, more than 50% of US consumers had a smartphone and 25% had a tablet. And those numbers are only going to get bigger since more iPhones are sold than babies born each day. And increasingly, those devices and their owners are inseparable. That awareness and usage is certainly showing up in our business. We are growing mobile payment volume at 275% per year. And as consumers move from desktops to mobile phones, PayPal is well positioned to make the shift, and our mobile payment volume will continue to grow. We have millions of mobile users who are highly engaged, an active base of consumers with a high propensity to pay with PayPal via mobile. We're driving them to use PayPal in everyday spend segments to add convenience to their lives. And will exceed $20 billion in mobile payments this year, $14 billion in 2012. But we've also learned that it's not just retail. So we've optimized our mobile donation flows to ensure that nonprofits can capture the benefits of this trend towards mobile devices. PayPal mobile donation growth is growing at a clip of about 97% year over year. And in fact, we saw a 242% growth in mobile donations from December 2011 to December 2012. I think the impact of this can best be seen in our experience in the UK, where we support the annual BBC Appeal, both Children in Need. Children in Need is the benefiting organization, but they alternate years between comic and sport relief. And the percentage of transactions that were conducted via a mobile device, as you can see, has grown tremendously from 2011 to 2013. 2011, 29% of donations received during the telethon were via mobile device. By 2013, that number had grown to 58%. And more importantly, the dollar amount of donations received during the live telecast, because these mobile devices are making it easier for people to sit on their couches, engage with the television, and take action in a couple easy steps. Those mobile donations, the dollar amount of those mobile donations grew 67% between 2011 and 2013. But as I mentioned, PayPal is not just a facilitator of online payments anymore. We want to be anywhere you are and anywhere you are transacting. And so a little over a year ago, we launched PayPal Here, a swipe device that enables you to get paid on your smartphone or tablet. All you have to do is download the app, plug in the free card reader, and people can swipe their credit cards. It takes any form of payment, cards, checks, You can log cash, send invoices to pay later. And customers don't need a PayPal account. And we're seeing organizations like Children's Miracle Network use these devices at live events like golf tournaments, live auctions, and runs and walks to make payments easily and securely and more efficient for the organization during a time that can be quite hairy. Efficiency is an important part of the game. I've sat in a nonprofit fundraiser's chair for several years before starting Mission Fish, the organization that was integrated into eBay to create the eBay Giving Works program. And I was short on resources. I had less time than opportunity, and I needed to be as efficient as possible. And a great deal of our efforts in leveraging our technology is focused on helping nonprofits do things as quickly and as efficiently as possible. But at the end of the day, it's about how much money you're bringing in. And we're seeing some pretty impressive results through PayPal Here. In fact, the average donation size through PayPal Here is $39.25 higher than the average donation size. I think it speaks to, one, the ability to have a personal connection with someone who is inspired at an event, and again, a way to quickly and efficiently act on that passion in real time. As our company continues to innovate and develop ways to help retailers succeed and to help consumers shop anytime and anywhere, we'll continue to leverage those technologies and tailor them so that they might help generate more support for organizations large and small. A couple features that are in testing and due to be released any week now, for example, we've taken the donate button, the mobile-enabled donate button, and we're adding a feature that nonprofits have told us is tops on their list, and that is the ability to have their users create a setting to make a monthly donation. And we will continue to listen to the feedback of our nonprofit partners to ensure that our technology that is being developed for other uses is tailored and is harnessing the good that can come from this technology on their behalf. Another example is we just talked about the PayPal Here device, and the PayPal Here device was again developed for a target of users that didn't necessarily include nonprofits, and through constant communication with organizations who have in fact turned out to be our largest segment of users for PayPal Here, they told us they needed additional data fields to be added to PayPal Here so that they could efficiently generate tax receipts when people make donations through that device. As I said, we will continue to leverage not only our people and our network the network effects of our users, but also the technology we have to inspire and enable more good. And then finally, we want to enable partners to extend their impact and deepen their customer relationships. We talked about the power of these programs and what we have witnessed on our own business and for our own customers. But we see tremendous power in taking those learnings, those capabilities, and those expertise and extending them to partners so that they may realize those own benefits for their business, but also multiply the impact that we might be able to generate on our own. We benefited from some economists taking interest in our work on eBay Giving Works. Ray Fisman from Columbia and a number of other professors did a multi-year study where they pulled tens of millions of eBay listings looking for matched pairs and ended up with a population of 23 million listings, 12 million or so pairs, and tried to identify, interrogated that data and tried to identify the big differences in those. Lots of different types of items, sellers, prices, causes, amounts to charities, etc. And what they found is that this type of activity can have some tremendous impact for our customers. And it differed a bit based on whether that seller, in this case, was established within the eBay marketplace or they were a new seller. And I can talk a little bit more about why that might be. But we found that sellers in general were able to sell quite a bit more items when that item was associated with a charitable organization, and those items received higher sale prices. The difference between established and new, if you think about it, eBay is a marketplace that's based on trust, and a lot of that trust comes from feedback, your history on the site, and specifically your history of doing good by your customers. And it's very hard for a new seller to establish credibility within that marketplace or trust without that history of transacting. And so what we found is that there is a higher lift for those new sellers because the association with the charitable organization and the additional trust and safety that's put around that process for collecting that donation provides value for those new sellers that they might not otherwise get if they hadn't sold on behalf of a charitable organization. And so, again, we are taking those expertise, those learnings, and those values, and promoting them to our partners and telling them that you can use our capabilities to pursue your own objectives, both business and philanthropic. And here's just a few examples of different brands, manufacturers, celebrities that are using our eBay GivingWorks platform to do things like launch new products or to extend their impact by giving a percentage of their sales on an ongoing basis to their cause of choice. Warren Buffett launches an auction every year where he auctions off lunch with him to benefit Glide Memorial Church. Pretty astounding results. Last year went for 3.6 million. This year was down a bit. I'm not sure what to attribute that to, but over $1 million was raised just by auctioning off a single hour of time with him. Concerts, integrating both live and virtual auctions into their activities and accepting donations through PayPal Here devices at the concert itself. Monster DNA headphones launching a new product where they're designating a percentage of those proceeds to their organization of choice. And more, we see taking this ability to integrate cause into our commerce experience as a way to, again, extend those partnerships and create value for our customers. And a recent example of how we did that in our PayPal business is that we launched a test with Home Depot around a cause offer where half would receive an offer for $5 off and $5 would be contributed to Habitat, the other $10 off of their purchase provided by PayPal. And what we found is that the cause offer creates greater value for Home Depot and for PayPal. And oh, by the way, it generated some pretty neat results for Habitat so that they might be able to build more houses. That's kind of the sweet spot of what we are trying to create and realize the shared value of this intersection of cause and commerce. We continue to test and learn. We are testing things like incentives and their impact on users for participating in our philanthropic programs. And we're finding some great results in that area as well. So in many ways, although I shared quite a bit about what is an established program within eBay marketplaces and some of the activities where we're now starting to extend beyond the borders of marketplaces into PayPal and some of our other businesses. One I didn't mention is StubHub, a company that is part of the eBay Inc. family of companies that is a large ticket exchange, has looked at its assets and found that it has unsold tickets that it can use for charitable purposes. And it is using the eBay GivingWorks platform to sell tickets where 100% of the proceeds are going to its efforts around disadvantaged youth. And so we're seeing cross-pollination of our programs And we are actively pursuing ways to extend upon our efforts through our other business properties. But we're really just scratching the surface of opportunity we think we have to drive social impact through our business. And we hope that you'll check in with us throughout our journey. If you visit ebayinc.com/social innovation, you'll find more about the strategy which we touched on briefly today, the goals we have set out for each of those pillars, and some of the specific programs we are pursuing under each of those to drive impact. If you're a nonprofit, we would love to have you involved, either by utilization of some of the tools that we provide to the nonprofit sector, or by signing up for programs that give you and your organization access to our networks of users to build awareness and to raise funds. And finally, if you're a corporation and are interested in talking about ways that we might be able to partner, certainly feel free to reach out. Would love to talk about ways that we might work together. So that's Megan. That's about all that I had, at least formally, to share today. But as we mentioned earlier, happy to take any questions and have a discussion with our remaining time.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Sean. This is such fantastic information. Those of us in the cause marketing industry know that sometimes it's hard to get companies to share really quantitative and qualitative data about their business results. So I don't know if some of you caught that, but there are several slides in there where Sean shared some really very dramatic cause-focused results. So thank you for the presentation in general. It was all very informative, and particularly for being transparent and sharing those business benefits, because it really does help the rest of us in the industry get a better sense of what's happening in this realm. So we do have lots of questions. The first one is a question about the last slide that you showed. So I'm going to start there. The $5 split between Habitat and, yes, that one, and yourself and the PayPal. Do you have qualitative comparative results that shared? You said that the cause one did better, but you didn't say specifically how it performed.
Yeah. Well, I thank you for calling out the fact that I did share quite a bit of what could be considered proprietary information. But as I shared in our strategy at a glance, part of the value we see in our work is raising our voice and sharing what we learn and advocate for change. And so as part of that, we want to be as transparent as we can possibly be in the results that we're finding. The caveat being things that we are still in test and learn phase. And because they're so much in their infancy, and because they are working with partners where we don't have that same leeway to share information, I have to be a little bit more general about some of the results we're finding. I think what you'll find is, one, what I shared with you is that the results were very positive. And when things are very positive, our next step is to try to figure out a way to make those scalable and far-reaching. And when we do that, I will then be able to share some of the aggregate data that we're finding. Because this is so specific to a single merchant, and because it's so early in that test and learn phase, I really can't share more detail than, in fact, the cause set, if you will, of those offers that we put out there had some tremendous results for both us and for the retailer.
Fantastic. And one other clarification, I think I know the answer to this, but somebody answered, I'll let you answer it. Somebody asked. This was an A/B test, right? They were served either, they weren't given the choice of whether they got $10 or whether they, so they were served, they were served one, they didn't get to choose. Okay, fantastic. I got several questions. How does a nonprofit get involved with eBay, and how do you select your nonprofit partners?
Yeah. So what we are working towards a single onboarding process for eBay Inc. that will enable you as a nonprofit to go through a single flow and choose which tools and which networks you want to be a part of. We're not there yet. So Today, you can go to a couple different places to find out more about some of the various programs and solutions that we talked about today. One would be any nonprofit that is a 501c3 tax-deductible organization can sign up with eBay GivingWorks. You can just go to www.ebay.com/givingworks or just ebaygivingworks.com and register. We ask you for some backup documentation on your tax deductibility. We take about a business day to ensure you're not promoting hate, violence, or intolerance. And we ask for some financial details to ensure that we have an efficient mechanism for getting funds that are raised on your behalf to your organization. But as I said, it's a pretty simple form, and it's one day turnaround to get signed up. So pretty simple and easy process. If you want to find out more about things like how to utilize PayPal on your own website and receive reduced pricing for doing so, and or want to get a PayPal Here device, those kinds of things, you can go to www.paypal.com/nonprofits.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And then we've got several questions along the lines of what are the best practices that and ways that you've seen nonprofits really effectively use the GivingWorks platform, their presence on GivingWorks? Do you have any suggestions or ideas?
Well, certainly one I would throw out there is to promote the fact that this program exists to your existing constituents. One slide I talked through the difference between the amount of donations received by organizations when it's an organization featured by us versus one that has been set as a favorite by someone in their eBay account. There are some organizations that have very effectively communicated to their constituents and said, hey, we know you might use eBay. If you do, set us as your favorite in your eBay account. And they are finding that, we're not talking huge donation volumes, but relative to organization size, some of my favorite examples are those, those organizations that have operating budgets of under 6 figures that are raising $50 to $75 a day, just by virtue of telling people that when they're using eBay, set them as their favorite, because each and every time they're buying or selling something, they're seeing their organizations show up in those flows. So I would offer that as one. Push that favorite feature amongst those that are already passionate about your cause. Secondly, we have found that high-profile auctions have a tendency to drive a great amount of awareness, not only in that individual item, but the organization benefiting. And we've been quite successful at leveraging that single item and interest in it into residual philanthropic gifts by donors that may have just had a passing interest in that item, or one of the thousands of people that didn't have the money necessary to buy it, but did feel compelled to give a gift through one of the other mechanisms, whether that be the straight cash gift, which if they give a straight cash gift to your organization through eBay GivingWorks, 100% of your organization is going to get it, to those adding a donation at checkout. And I will also say, and this is a bit where business and philanthropy come together, specific to eBay GivingWorks, is that when you do have those high-profile events, our team at eBay GivingWorks is able to compel our merchandising folks to advertise and populate our various advertising assets to promote that item, bringing further awareness and further activity on your behalf, and they can package that up with featuring your organization and give it checkout, that kind of thing. And so I would say if you have an opportunity like that, reach out to the eBay GivingWorks team, which you can do so through that site, and tell them you have an opportunity, you want to partner with them. And they're fabulous about figuring out ways to be creative, to raise the profile of your organization and ensure that that single opportunity you might have results in a great bigger impact that might otherwise be had by that single item.
Fantastic. I'm getting lots and lots of questions about, are we going to get this presentation, the actual presentation itself? And the answer is yes. And you'll also be getting a recorded version of this webinar, and that will be in your inbox tomorrow. So watch for that on email. Do you have any plans, special plans for Giving Tuesday or anything for the Black Friday weekend?
So we are an active participant in Giving Tuesday. Last year, we launched mobile donation capabilities for any of the nonprofits that were registered with eBay GivingWorks, and found that to be very successful. And we have had several meetings with the Giving Tuesday folks about things that we might do to inspire more giving specific to Giving Tuesday. If you have ideas about ways that you might want to partner with us specific to that day, please feel free to reach out. We've got some of our own ideas that we think can take advantage of the heightened awareness around giving during that day, and want to do everything we can to promote that and to realize additional impact. I'm not at liberty to tell you exactly what those initiatives will be yet, but when we do, they will certainly be available through the Giving Tuesday website, and we will publish them through our various communication channels to ensure that you're aware of them and can participate.
Excellent. A couple of legal questions that you may or may not know the answer to from a legal pundit in our midst. What position does eBay take as to its role under professional fundraiser laws?
Yeah, so we certainly are aware of professional fundraiser laws, and we have put infrastructure around our program to ensure that everything we do is on the up and up. Our charitable activity on the eBay GivingWorks site is supported by our nonprofit organization, the PayPal Giving Fund. And so each one, eBay is registered as a commercial co-venturer, and two is each and every donation that is made through our platform actually is made to the PayPal Giving Fund, and those monies are regranted to the organization that has been named by the donor, and it has been recommended by the donor to the PayPal Giving Fund to pass on that donation to. The PayPal Giving Fund is funded in whole by PayPal, so that every donation that comes through our platforms, 100% of that donation is passed along and re-granted to the organization, assuming that organization, when we go to make that grant, is still in good standing with the IRS and has not started promoting hate, violence, or intolerance since we initially vetted them.
And then
I hope that answers the question.
I hope it does as well. And then the second part of that question, this was a two-part question, is what position does eBay take as to its users and sellers' roles under commercial co-venture laws?
Well, the buyer is not making a donation. In terms of a seller, the seller is agreeing to terms and conditions when they agree to sell that item. And I don't believe that they would be restricted by activity due to professional fundraising laws, because their activity is episodic and not necessarily on an ongoing basis or for commercial gain. So I don't believe that our sellers would be restricted by any professional fundraising laws.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And let's see, you had mentioned that the GivingWorks program is in several other countries. Can you go through that list again and where it's rolling out to?
Yeah, it's not as in many countries as we would hope to be. Right now, the full suite of programs and services is available in the U.S. and U.K. Now, I will say that we have users from all over the world, and I think I called that out in one of the slides in the presentation. Our donor base is certainly far and wide. But because of some of the fundraising laws that we just talked about and the amount of infrastructure that needs to be in place to facilitate this type of activity, right now, sellers that are donating a percentage of their sale can only do so in the U.S. and U.K. We have the ability, that ability plus give it checkout for a limited number of nonprofits in Canada. And then we are active, and right now in Germany, nonprofits are able to utilize the program to sell items on their own. And I should mention that nonprofits, we do recognize that organizations get in-kind goods and services that they can't utilize and want to use our platform to sell them. And by utilization of the eBay Giving Works program and the fee credit policy we have in place, it's essentially free for your organization to sell items through eBay Giving Works in the US, UK, Canada, and Germany. We are actively pursuing a license or a payments license in Germany that would enable us to set up a PayPal Giving Fund in Germany and thereby enable buying and selling activity on their behalf as well. We have big sights on expanding our programs further internationally. Yeah, so stay tuned for that.
Excellent. Well, you have been more than generous in answering all of these fantastic questions. Thank you, everyone, for submitting questions. And at this time, I think we are going to conclude the webinar. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today. And if you enjoyed today's webinar or have suggestions for ways we can make them even better, please do weigh in on the brief survey you'll be given when you exit today. And if you'd like more free resources on cause marketing, please join our LinkedIn group or subscribe to our free newsletter at causemarketingforum.com. And you can get new campaigns weekly at causeupdate.com. Stay tuned for our next monthly webinar on August 22nd on point of sale campaigns. And on behalf of eBay and Cause Marketing Forum, we'd like to thank you so much for joining us today. We'll see you next time.